What's up, guys? I'm a professional Rainbow Six player, and this is my tier list for Year 8, Season 2. Fenrir just came out, or is just coming out, and yeah, a lot of changes have happened, so let's figure out who's the best and who's the worst and who you should play in the new season. Honestly, right now, this is like the most balanced operators have been in general, so it's gonna be pretty tough to separate them all. But anyway, let's get active. First off, we got Thunderbird, and Thunderbird might actually be F tier now. I'm gonna put her in D tier. I think Thunderbird's weak. The Thunderbird changes definitely made her a lot worse. Doesn't have impacts or nitro cell anymore, so kinda garbo. And Doc is just like gonna be a better pick pretty much all of the time. I'm actually gonna put her in F tier because Doc is literally always gonna be a better pick than her now. Fuze is next up, and I'm gonna put him in the D tier. He can destroy a bunch of utility. The only downside is he doesn't really fit the meta right now. Meta is very fast paced, high aggression, and if you're trying to take all that time to clear a roam and fuse above, or like fuse around the site to like destroy utility, the chances are your whole team's probably dead already, or the round's over and you're kind of out of the push. And I don't know, not a huge fan. AK-12 is good though right now, and his utility ain't bad. He's D tier, but again, D tier, not that bad right now. Ooh, now we got Fenrir, the new operator in R6. Where would Fenrir be on this list? This is the question. Fenrir is pretty strong. I think he's going to be like an A tier operator. I've only played him on the test server so far on just consulate, so I don't know exactly how strong he is, but I do think he is going to be pretty powerful. He might even be S, but definitely in these top 3 tiers for sure. Fenrir is really, really solid. I can tell just by playing him, but we'll have to wait and see to get a better idea of how good he really is. Ace is like the best ranked hard breacher right now. Fastest hard breacher, AK-12, just a beast. I mean, Ace has been a beast for a while, and he's gonna remain a beast in the S tier. Absolute goated operator with the sauce. Frost is also really strong right now. Having a 1.5 sight is a big deal right now. Just you shoot people, you kill people, and she also adds that safety around the site. I'm honestly gonna put Frost in an S tier right now. I think Frost is like an S tier op right now. I don't think you can really go wrong with her. Nah, I changed my mind. I'm gonna put her in A tier. The only reason, because there are some sites where the frost mats aren't like super strong. There's a lot of sites where they are really strong, but sometimes they're just kind of useless on some specific sites. Really good on staircases and windows though, if you do want to play Frost, but she's gonna be top of A for me. Now, I made a Cav saying Cav is actually the best defender right now because of the meta. You can sneak around, people are relying on info, and she kind of counters that. And honestly, I do think Cav is really strong right now still. It's like in ranked. Like this is a ranked tier list. This isn't a competitive tier list. This is a competitive tier list that look entirely different. I'm gonna put Cav in C tier. I might be a little too high. She might end up in the D, but for now, we'll put her in C just so that you guys can get angry in the comments at me. I honestly don't like Ella. I think Ella is not great. I think her Goon Mines are pretty weak. I think she's honestly kind of overrated, and the people that do play her, I just don't know. I'm not with you, man. I'm not with you if you play Ella. I want to put her in the F tier because she is better than Thunderbird. The mines do provide information. Outside of that, though, that's really all she's bringing, and you can really achieve that with a lot of other people. Plus, fuck it, we'll put her in the F tier. Put her in the F tier. Next up is Brava. I think Brava is, again, similar to Fuze, like that slow pace op, and you need a lot of time to drone and hack stuff, and it can be tough if your team is like very fast, which is the case most of the time. Now, she can be good with her hacks. Like, she's really good against Maestro, really good against Echo, good against Kapkan. And Kapkan's played a lot right now too. I'd put her in like C, low C, maybe even D, just because again, it does take a lot of time to use those drones. But if you're playing in a very structured environment and a very slow paced one, she can be definitely like a B or an A tier op, depending on what you're up against. Then we got Clash, and I think Clash is honestly pretty bad. She's good on a select few sites, but the people that play her are playing her all the time, and that's just not the move. She's really not that strong, and she's pretty easy to deal with if you know how. You can just ignore her. Go somewhere else, literally. She's good on like the basement of Oregon. That's the one site I think that she's like the best on, just because she can rotate quickly between the areas, and she's actually pretty decent. But I'm gonna put her in F tier. I think she's worse than Ella. Bandit is still pretty strong. Great gun, C4, 3-speed, can bandit trick. A lot of things going for Bandit right now. And I still think he's a solid operator. I'm gonna put him in C tier above Cav, and I'm gonna drop Cav down behind Brava. Then we got Blitz. Ooh, Blitz is honestly pretty strong. The problem with Blitz is like once you bring Blitz once, they're going to kind of start bringing impacts or start finding ways around the shield that is constantly destroying them. So I mean, I think he's got to be D. He's got to be worse than Fuze, but he's not quite F because there are some times where he can shine very, very well, and he can actually be really, really strong if you use him at the right times. Amaru's pretty solid in this meta too, just quickly getting into the building. I wouldn't put her higher than C tier just because she is high risk, and her utility isn't like amazing, but when you have the G8 or even the Supernova and the SMG, she can be pretty solid. Yeah, I don't think she's like one of the best stops right now, but probably on the C tier. Azami's gonna be an S tier. Azami is just so good all the time, like so versatile, so many different ways to play her. Her Kibas charge up really quickly, so you usually get all of them by the end of the round. Like, you usually have them all deployed or in your pocket, and they charge up really quick. I'm surprised she hasn't got a nerf yet, because she is just so ridiculously strong even since she was released. So yeah, top of S. I mean, Azami is so good. Ashe is like an A tier op right now, I want to say, because bulletproof utility isn't like the biggest concern for people right now. Most of it is traps, and it's just so important to have a good gun and just be flexible and be fast. Ashe is just a really good fit in the meta. She's not really a bad pick ever, and you never feel like you're like lacking other utility when you pick Ashe. And if you use the Ashe launcher and the breach chargers, you know, you can get a lot of vertical play going. You can do a lot of things with Ashe. So I think she's pretty solid right now. I'll put her an A, which is probably the highest I've ever put Ashe on a tier list. Alibi is next up, and she has lost her 1.5, but I still think Alibi is really strong. That gun still shreds. The prisms are still very useful, especially when they're not droning. They're playing that quick pace, and they're just pre-firing everything and being ridiculous. I'm gonna put her in B tier. Still has the shield. She does have the observation blocker tool, which I'm not sure how strong that is quite yet, but I think there will be some good uses for it. So I think Alibi is a solid like B tier pick right now. Blackbeard is gonna be F tier. Blackbeard is really bad. His shields don't even work half the time, and when they do, they barely work. He can be a little bit annoying at times, but I don't see myself picking Blackbeard over any other op with like a justified reason. And if you're like, oh, I really need the shield, then like something's wrong with you. What about Buck? Bucky poo. Buck is nasty. Buck is really nasty. He has gone 6, fastest soft breacher from vertical or below. Flashbangs are super good. Hard breach tools are even good right now on some sites. I would put Buck in the S tier. I think Buck is he's just a fragger, and he can do so much and can do it so quickly. You can surprise enemies, you can pop out walls, you can breach floors, you can push them around, and I really think Buck is really strong right now. Capitao is absolutely loaded up with utility. 2 flame bolts, 2 smoke bolts, hard breach tools, gone 6. So there's really so much he can achieve. The question is, are you going to be able to achieve all that stuff in an appropriate amount of time? Which is really like the biggest question of the meta right now. Can you pull off the utility fast enough so that it's actually worthwhile? With Capitao, I think in some cases it is, but there really is a lot of sites where he's not the best pick. I would say he's probably like a C tier op. Really strong for executes, of course, comboing the firebolts with the smokes. But yeah, C. Castle is B tier right now. I think he's top B. Really good for slowing down the pace of the attackers, especially when you're playing those aggressive teams, or just confusing them, running complex setups that they might not understand, cooking stuff up on the fly, pocketing castles, being wild. I think Castle's one of the most underrated operators right now, and he's gonna be top B for me. Doc is a really solid pick right now. 1.5 sight, MP5, super good healing, much better than Thunderbird in the heal departments, and he's just a great pick. I feel like you can't go wrong with picking Doc right now. He's always making plays. Now, some people are probably gonna get mad that like, oh, well, Thunderbird gives you heals and she has a good gun too, and you're putting her in F, you're putting Doc in A. How does that make sense? Because like, don't run Thunderbird, just pick Doc. You don't need both. You never need both, and you never need the Thunderbird because you can pick Doc. If Doc is banned, this is the one situation. If Doc is banned and you want to run Thunderbird, great. Go ahead. 99% of the time she's useless. The 1% of the time when Doc is banned and you need heals, like, sure. Echo is super strong right now too. I think Echo, along with Castle, is one of the most underrated ops, but you can use those echo cams so well. There's so much info. You can spawn kill. You can drone your teammates around. You can get aggressive off of them. They're just so good. 1.5 sight, so good. Echo's great and like very underrated once again. I think Fenrir might be a bit better than these guys. Great ops. Osa's pretty annoying right now too. I think there's a lot of good times to run her. She's very easy to counter though if you just have impacts. Of course, you can just impact her. A little vulnerable when placing the shield. I've never been a massive fan of Osa, but I know a lot of people do like her, so I'll put her like lower C. But yeah, you can't run her all the time if you're playing any sort of competence. That will just be like, oh, they have Osa. Oh, we break the shield. Oh, there we go. Which is really like the most simple line of thought that really anybody should be able to do. But that being said, she can set up like very powerful lines of sight with the shields, so she is still good. I think Finka is pretty underrated right now as well. Since she lost her nades, she just fell off in terms of pick rate, but she is still really strong. Brings the heals for her team. Every time I pick Finka, I always am like satisfied that I picked her and think it was like worthwhile. Glaz is pretty good right now. The only problem with Glaz is that Warden is also very, very popular right now, so it makes it harder to play Glaz. But even in most situations when there is a Warden, a lot of the time he's not in the right position, and you can actually still use Glaz really well. Glaz is also really good with Mav if you do that little Mav Glaz trick. I honestly think Glaz is probably like a B tier up. Like I'm picking Glaz over Cap most of the time. Low B, not like extremely good, but like can be really, really, really strong and maybe even a little bit underrated. This is honestly one of the weirdest looking tier lists I've ever made, but it's so hard right now. It's so hard right now because everyone is so balanced and so close together that it's like you could pick Fuze and it's totally fine. You could pick Thunderbird, it's totally fine. You could pick Clash and yeah, that looks better. Everything is so balanced. The fact Cav is up here is wild. The fact Doc is up here is wild. Like, this is just a wild. We got Goyo next. Goyo's pretty solid. Super good for that fast-paced rank style, especially if you're putting them on barricades. That way, when they bust through a barricade, they do have to wait the timeout. And while they're waiting that time, maybe the rest of their team's getting slaughtered somewhere else. I think Goyo's like a solid B, maybe even A. I put him probably above Alibi. But, like, I still think Castle's probably better right now. Gridlock is pretty much only good for direct sight hits where you're throwing tracks and smokes and causing maximum chaos while you plant the bomb. But even then, I think there's really better ops for that. I would put her probably low D. Low D. Yeah. Ooh, Grim is actually good now. A lot of people think Grim is still going to be dog shit, even with all the updates and changes they made to him, which was literally, like, changing every single aspect of his gadget. But I think Grim is actually good now. Actually good. Useful on things besides just a direct execute. You can do it quick. You have the bailiff shotgun. You have the hard breach tools. I really do think Grim is going to be a lot of fun and really strong. I'm going to put him in the B tier. I'm going to put him in the B tier probably around here. I could be completely wrong about this. I've only played him, again, on the test server, on consulate only, against, like, people of a variety of skill levels, so I'm not 100% sure, but I'm hoping he's around here. I'm hoping he's even stronger. I would love to play Grim, like, consistently, but who knows? So I'm gonna put him here for now. This could be a complete miss. I don't know. Dokkaebi is S tier. Dokkaebi is one of the best attackers right now. So good for information, especially with the high aggression meta going on. You give a call, you know it's clear, you run through the building, you kill everyone, rounds over in 30 seconds. We've seen it all before. Yeah, absolute Chad of an operator. Honestly, I would put her even above Azami right now. Super strong. Fantastic ban. Stop banning Thatcher, stop banning Jackal, start banning Dokk. Hibana is also a very good hard breacher. She's just slower and very easy to K-trick, Bandit trick against. Good at range, of course, but Ace is just like a better pick right now, I think. She's good for hatches, of course. And she is still very strong. She's not like bad, but again, just slower and not ideal. I don't know if I want to put her in A or like B. I'm gonna put her in A just above Ash. She does have the flashbangs, which are really good for playmaking as well. And she is still strong. She kind of just lives in the shadow of Ace. Iana is an S tier operator. So good. Everybody knows Iana is a beast. She is actually better than Dokk. Has the clones, so much information, grenades, G36, top of the pick rate, high in the win percentage delta. She's a beast. She's a beast. I honestly think IQ is not as bad as I would normally put her. Before, I would say you should only pick IQ against Valk. I think that has changed a little bit. She's good against Echo if Echo's really messing you up. Pulse, Soulless. A lot of traps are being played right now as well, and she has a fantastic gun. And because guns are important right now, like more important than they've ever been, and being able to shoot people is more important than they've ever been, I'm going to put her a little higher than the F tier or D tier that I normally put her at. And I'm going to put her in the middle of C, right around Amaru. I am going to move Cav down to the D. You've been demoted, Cav. I still love you, but people will get too mad if I left you above Osa. See, Jackal's a weird one because he's always banned, but I really don't think he's that strong. He's annoying. He can be annoying if you're a defender, but I don't think he provides the attack with that much strength. I'm gonna put him in D. Honestly, I'm gonna put him low, like mid D. I think he is mid D. I think he needs this D, and he deserves this D. Jager is still very strong. I'm putting him in S tier. I mean, it's just that added protection, the added safety, that level of comfort that he gives you is great. Cade's also gonna be S tier. Cade's super strong. Cade tricking super strong, especially against the EMP gadgets. If you have a Thatcher ban and they're running EMP gadgets and you Cade trick, super, super powerful. Callie is going to join the F tier. Yeah, I still believe that there's never an appropriate time to pick Callie. I never think she's going to be the best pick. I think there's always going to be another operator that can do Callie's job better, whether it's EMP gadgets, whether it's Thatcher, whether it's grenades to get the wall denial, whether you're just completely ignoring the wall denial, whether you just want to get active and do something else. I just never think that the solution is going to be Callie, so she's going to be staying right here. Kapkan's like super good. S tier. I mean, I think everyone agrees with this, especially on console. He's like the most banned defender on console, which is crazy. But those traps, I mean, so useful, especially right now. I'm going to even put him up by Ace and Buck. Legion's also really good right now. Again, just traps are good right now. I put him in low A. Great for information, great on a roam, good around the site, but not like lethal traps like Frost and Kapkan. Frost and Kapkan just kill people, and Gumines obviously don't, but he still has a great weapon. He's still a great pick, and it's hard to go wrong with Lesion. I think Lion's also really solid right now. Probably up in the Ash Hibana range, A tier somewhere. I put him like up here. Good for slowing people down, good for posting up and clapping cheeks. You know, the classic moves. You know all about it, guys. Next up is the Maestro. Maestro's pretty decent. I put him low B. I think he's a little underrated. The Alda 80 round mag. I mean, you can fry people with that. You can zap off hard breach, really just mess up the attacking team, get their drones, get rid of their info, and have the cams for just your dead teammates that are probably dead in the first 10 seconds because they tried to spawn peek, and then they could hop on your cams if they're good teammates. But they probably won't anyway. So he's decent though. He's pretty strong. He's gonna go low B. At this point, you might think I'm absolutely insane, and honestly, I don't know if I am. I could be. I am gonna move my camera though. Mav is next. Mav, give Mav nades back, please, Ubi, please. I feel like the only valid Mav tactic is just playing Mav in Glaz and pre-smoking the wall and sniping through it. He does still have a really good weapon, and he's fast. You can play him like an entry, and honestly, it's pretty good. Despite his utility being bad, he's still decent in the meta right now with his guns. Melusi is still very, very strong, despite the fact you can shoot her wubs now. I still think she's like an A tier pick. I'm personally not a huge fan of the MP5 with a one-time sight. I just suck with it for whatever reason. So yeah, she'll stay there. That's fine. Mira is next. Mira is still good, but she's not as good as she used to be. She is good on a lot of sites, but a lot of people just won't even play the mirrors, I find, and it's just easier these days to get fried off a mirror. People will pre-fire them. People will avoid them. People will kill everyone else, and then you're stuck on a mirror, and you have to clutch, and it's going to be really hard. I still think she's solid. I still think she's like A tier. Put her at the top of A. Monty is actually very good right now. I think he's probably better than Osa, just because of like how annoying he can be to deal with, and sometimes people just can't deal with him at all. Like sometimes people try to counter him and it just doesn't work because he's so strong. Super good, especially if you have good teammates you're working with. I'm gonna put him like middle of C, which I think it actually might be the highest Monty spot we've ever had. Mozzie is not like super strong right now. I'm not loving Mozzie right now. I'm putting like mid C. I think if you want to stop drones, mutes the play. You don't really have time to use those hack drones because the rounds are so quick. And his guns, while the Roni is good if you hit your headshots, there's just a lot better options for guns right now too. So mid C. Mute is an S tier operator if you play him the right way. I'd say he's probably just below Azami here. Super strong, super good. Playing the roam, standing on the mute jammers, using the shotgun. Oh my gosh, the pump shotgun is just so good in combo with those mute jammers. So yeah, take mute on the roam, shotgun some people. The only downside is he's a 1 speed, and it takes a little bit to set up the mutes, but you'll be fine. I still think Nokk is also super strong. I'm gonna put her in S tier. I think she's still really powerful. Still has the nades. FMG's a laser, 1.5 sight, sneaky boy. Fantastic op pick. She just takes a little more skill. That's all. She takes a little more skill to use. I think Nomad is much more superior to Gridlock for a variety of reasons, and she has a really good gun. Nomad's probably above Capitao right now. I'll put her like B, low B. I'll put her, yeah, right here above Glaz. You don't have to use her for flank watch. You can use her for runouts. You can use her aggressively. You can just play her like an entry and block off different avenues the defenders might try to swing from, and then you can be more confident in your other fights. Playing her aggressively is definitely the move. I think Oryx has been taken down quite a bit after losing his 1.5. His 1.5 was literally the best part of his ability, was having a 1.5. Well, yes, flanking up the hatches is pretty cool and good, and being speedy and being able to dash across like those powerful lines of sight is also good. I just think he's a little underpowered because all he was really good for was his gun, sadly. He still has the gun though. The gun itself is still good. He's just not quite as good. I want to put him below Bandit. Yeah, right here. C. Pulse is pretty decent. Pretty decent. C4 from below is still a viable tactic. 1.5 sight, and he's quick to get around. I think he's probably around here with Maestro. Aruni is still very, very strong. Good info on the gates. You can, of course, reset them. Good for protecting utility because it's harder and harder to protect utility now. So she's good for that. She has a DMR, which the DMR is just a beast. And, of course, her Bionic Fist is one of just so good. It's just so good. One of the best parts about her is her Bionic Fist, which nobody else has. I don't think she's quite as good as Frost and Fenrir, but I do think she's like an A-tier operator. Probably higher than Melusi. Probably, we'll put it right here. Sense is honestly not that bad. The POF is really good, and you can cause a lot of chaos with those walls. If you use those walls to like kind of block off lines of sight and get into other areas, it can work. It can work, but it's not like something that you're able to do all the time. I think Sense is, honestly, honest opinion, I think Sense is above Jackal. I would love to see Sense get like another gadget or like 2 other gadgets or something like that. But yeah, don't be sleeping on the Sense, guys. Don't be sleeping on the Sense. Sledge is next. L8 grenades. What more can you ask for? Oh, you could ask for a sledgehammer. Sledge walls, smash floors, do cool stuff with. That's right. Sledge is super well-rounded. I don't think you ever go wrong with a Sledge pick. But is he better than Buck? I gotta put him above Buck just because of the nades. Just because of the nades. Smoke is so good. Oh my gosh. I'm going to put Smoke below Azami, and the only reason for that is just because he's a lot harder to play right, and his SMG-11 isn't as good as Azami's primary. The shotgun is really, really strong, but when you do have to take long-range fights, you do have to use the SMG-11, and it's not going to be as nice as having an actual gun. But it's still good. It's still good. Don't get me wrong. He's second. He's second, okay? He's not 1, but he's 2, and like, you can't go wrong with Smoke. See, the thing about Solus is only good if the other team is good. Like, if the other team uses info and they drone, Solus is good. But even then, without, like, if they're, I mean, yeah, they got a drone. Like, if they're just running into the building with literally no drones, then Solus isn't going to do much. But most of the time, you're able to make at least one good play with Solus right around, whether that's a run out or a flank. I think she is very, very strong. I am going to put her in the S tier at the bottom. Above Cade, right here, below Buck, S tier op. But next up we got Tachanka. Tachanka. If you're running the submachine gun, you're trolling, okay? Because literally the best part about Tachanka is his LMG. Now with the LMG, I would still say he's like pretty meat. I would just run Smoke. Me personally, Smoke is just the better version of Tachanka by a lot. You can literally walk through a Tachanka fire and survive by a lot. Like it does just walk through the, if you're playing Tachanka, just walk through the fire. Trust me, just do it. You'll see how ass he is. I can't even put him in D, man. Like he's F. He's F tier. He's bad. He's not good. Not good. Look at his win delta. Terrible. Garbage up. Thatcher is still good, but definitely over banned, especially with EMPs being a thing. I would put Thatcher still in A tier. He solves a lot of problems. Maybe I put him in B tier. I put him in B tier. Yeah, B tier. He solves a lot of problems, but he's not going to be useful all the time. Just straight up. Thermite still is really good, especially for main breach. It's just going to be the best hard breacher for like big gaping holes. Like I've said before, he's not always going to be useful, and there's a lot of times where you like would prefer having a range breach because it's a wall that Thermite just can't get. It's either super unsafe to do it, or it's literally physically not possible for him. So I'm still gonna put him in A tier. I think Therm is super, super good still. Probably above Ash, just a little bit worse than Hibana. Thorn is okay, but it's really easy to avoid her traps it's just really easy to avoid her traps. If you're in the lower ranks, you might not know what's going on, you might die to them. I think I've only died like once to a Thorn trap in the past 3 seasons, where it was like I set it off and it fully killed me. Not like somebody else set it off and I ran into it behind them. Man, it's so hard because I think Ella is better than Thorn, so she's just gonna go F2, which is pretty solid, but kind of struggles with the same problem Brava has, where it's like you can't always use the Twitch drones because if your whole team dies, you're in a tough spot. I think the F2 is still good, especially if you can get into those like medium close range fights. But yeah, she struggles the same way as Brava, and I think her and Brava are pretty like interchangeable. Maybe she's a bit better than Cap. I do think she is still a bit stronger just because her things recharge, so she can get rid of more stuff, and she's more useful most of the time, I think. So she's gonna, yeah, we're gonna put her in the higher C. We got Valk next. I think Valk is really, really strong, but I don't think she's as strong as she used to be. The way people play the game, she's not as good as before. She's still gonna be A tier. I do still think she's better than Mira. Nah, she's S tier. She's S tier. She's still S tier. She's just not like the best S tier operator. She just provides so much info, and she is so strong. I'm gonna put her above Jager here. Vigil is next up. Vigil's kind of fallen from grace a little bit because most people don't drone, and if they do, Soulless is kind of like the better option now. He is still really annoying, and he can still waste a ton of time and be very strong, but I just think there's better options now most of the time. We're gonna put him there. I think just low B. I think that's just a good spot for him. Wamai is S tier. I do think Wamai is better than Jager. He has the impact. He has the 1.5 sight. That's a big part of it. And he's just so versatile, I find. Like throwing them down on the fly rather than having to pick them up, move them, place them. It's just so useful. The only downside, again, is if you die, you can't use the disc, which does suck. But he finds more spots to be useful than Jager, I think. So I'm actually going to put him up here above Cade. Warden is next, and Warden is traditionally F or D tier. But he is really, really good right now, and he's picked a lot, and it just all makes sense. I mean, great weapon, great loadout, adds a whole level of safety from a ton of these operators, and overall just very safe pick, and very just good. Probably better than Dokk right now. Like, it's crazy to say, but I think Warden is top of the A tier. Flores, great for destroying utility, bad for the meta because he's so slow. Literally takes like a minute and a half. It literally takes half the round to just use all 4 of your drones because he's so slow to do it, and it just takes time. By that point, your whole team is probably dead, you know? It's just the way it goes. The Flores bait is good. His gun is good, and he is still pretty decent, and I do think he's better than Twitch and Brava. I'm gonna put him here. No, I'm gonna put him here. Low B. Rook gives everyone self-revive. I mean, that's great. Extra health, that's great. We all know this is great in the meta right now. The impacts are great for playmaking. The 2-time sight's great for spawn peeking or just making plays or doing whatever. I mean, dude, this is actually just so sad that this is the way the game is right now. It's like literally like bring good guns, shoot people. Okay. I think Dokk is usually the better pick just because Dokk has the bailiff too, but it's hard for me to put Rook too low. I'll put him at the top of B tier behind Castle. Ying's also really good right now. Again, the problem is the Warden's usually in play. I think Ying is a bit better than Glaz, but not by much. I would put her probably up here above Finka. I think Grim honestly might be even a better pick than her, but that's a solid showing for Ying. That's not bad. We got Zero next. Zero, some people think Zero is super underrated. People think he's just bad. It's either you think he's underrated or you think he's bad. I think that he's good in certain situations, but not like bad, but also not like underrated. I just don't think he's like as strong as a lot of these other options. Like, and he doesn't have like a super specific like purpose unless it's like clearing a large space relatively quick and having lots of information on it. It's like so niche that it doesn't even make him like super crazy by any means. I think he's like below Osa. Nothing special. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Zero lovers. I know you love Zero. I like playing Zero, and I think he's a ton of fun, but it's just he's just not it. Zofia is way too slow right now. Her guns are not great, but she is still like fairly useful. I don't think she's like really that necessary, but the stuns are still pretty good. I don't know. This one's tough because I could see her being like A tier, but I can also see her being like D tier. Like I want to just put her here, but I know she's not that bad, which makes me want to put her like here almost. Who we got? Flores and Twitch. I think she is probably above Twitch, like barely. So we'll just leave her here. But lastly, we have Recruit. I don't normally do Recruit because he's not in ranked, but I would love for him to be back in ranked. I don't know why he's not. Like, he's a valid operator. He's just the most basic. He doesn't have a unique ability. He just has stuff because he's the Recruit. It'd be cool if you could like customize Recruit loadouts too, but you can't. Where would Recruit fit in this lineup? I don't know. I haven't played Recruit in a long time, but I think he's still decent. He's almost like an Ashe, but like not quite as good. And depending on his loadouts, I don't actually know how good he would be. This might be completely wrong, but I'm gonna put Recruit at the top of C. So there you have it, guys. There's my tier list for Year 8 Season 2 Operation Dread Factor. Let me know what you think. This was really, really tough. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, these operators are so balanced right now, minus Blackbeard, Clash, and Kali, and Tachanka, and Thorn. Okay, minus the F tier, these operators are very, very balanced, but in terms of strength, this is generally what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments, and again, thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.